On a bit of a brighter note, the Equal Pay Act, 50 years old already. And on this anniversary, President Obama commending the country's progress, but warning there's still more work to be done. Have a listen to his remarks at an event this morning.
Until equal pay truly is a reality, we're also here to recommit ourselves to the work that remains to be done. And 50 years ago today, President Kennedy signed the Equal Pay Act into law right here in the White House. He said it was basic to our democracy. It's the idea that all of us are created equal. And as I said in my inaugural address this year, our journey to equality is not complete until our wives, our mothers, our daughters can earn a living equal to their efforts.
So our next guest, Joe Echevarria, is the CEO of Deloitte. He was introduced by and was commended by the president before those remarks today for his innovative workplace and commitment to equal pay. By the way, Deloitte ranked consistently as the best place to work by Working Mother magazine. Joe, welcome to you. How close would you say the U.S. is to closing the income gap between men and women?
Well, if you look at the data, and there's lots of data around it, I'd say, 80%. 80%, much better than it was 50 years ago, but still a lot of work to do.
Well, Joe, this is Adam Shapiro here. I was curious, do we pay too much attention to the gender situation? Shouldn't we be talking about the fact that the demographic profile for employees nationwide is changing and that we're going to have a rise of Latino and African-American employees who, in some cases, face a ceiling, they would say, as well? Shouldn't we be doing more maybe to help those people come into management ranks?
Yeah, well, it's all inclusive, and for us, you hit on a great subject. We actually call it inclusion, and we call it, ethnicity and gender, and we deal with the diverse issues, because clearly people of color have even greater challenges than just gender.
Interesting to me, Deloitte, you have policies in place where you say you evaluate employees fairly and make sure no one is afraid of speaking up about this. Can you give me more detail about this, how you would go about making sure someone who may have a gripe, whether that person is a woman or someone of a minority background, does have a safe place to express his or her concerns?
Sure. We have a couple of venues. Obviously, the traditional ones where you would talk to a supervisor or a supervisor. But the most important one is we have confidential hotlines managed by an outside organization that are completely anonymous. And you can report any and all complaints about any actions by the firm or any of its employees there. And we have a pretty detailed process of chasing down every single one of those items.
Why do you think more CEOs, more companies aren't doing that?
Well, I don't know if they're not doing it. I think people are at different stages. We're in a people business. We have 60,000 professionals. Those are our assets. And so for us, it's the top of the list. Dealing with our people is our #1 priority.
So let me ask you, are there things that women can do to help themselves? Because there are people who say that actually having requirements, the equal pay requirement, actually works against women. But at the same time, from your own background, when you first joined, I think it was Deloitte, you've talked openly about how you had to have a mentor, a woman who's been there 40 years, who had to pull you aside and say, this is the corporate culture, this is how you rise up.
Yeah, well, it's a great point. It's a great question. Look, not everybody starts at the same place in life. Some people have early advantages. Some people have early disadvantages. So the one thing people need is someone to follow that understands how they can catch up if they're behind or how they can get equal if it's in fact unequal. That's happened to me for my 35 years in the career, and that's an important element of what needs to be done.
Interesting statistic came out of the Pew Research poll last week that's gotten all kinds of conversations going, and that is the working mothers percentage, rising to 40% of working mothers supporting households these days. Do you see that number increasing or decreasing, Joe?
No, I would see that number increasing. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and there will be women. First of all, women make up more of the degrees today, whether they're bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degrees. So by pure math, that result's going to increase. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, Joe, just out of curiosity, we were talking about the demographic changes that are going to take the country by storm. What about the fact that baby boomers will begin retiring and that they're going to have to be replaced and that the people who will be qualified are the women who are working now on their way up? Won't that just naturally bring about the equality in pay and even management opportunities for these people?
Well, the passage of time will certainly work things out. But if we allow it to take the pace of normal occurrences, we're going to suboptimize the opportunity. And so you're right, passage of time, demographic change will work, but something that can accelerate the change is what we're trying to do.
All right, so Joe, in closing, how does it feel to be commended by the President of the United States?
Well, I tell you, on behalf of all the people of Deloitte, it's pretty cool, pretty cool.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Joe Echevarria, the CEO of Deloitte.